Hello and welcome to Thoughts in the Green Room, the interview series with your host, Geoff Mays. This week in studio, I bring you Lucas Vani. For those of you who don't know Lucas already, Lucas is a fresh, new face in the artistic scene. A young actor, a young director, starting to chart his path. For those of you who want to find his work, in the near future, you'll be able to see him in the feature film Werewolf, directed by Lucas Vani. And if you're following him outside of the acting path, look for his short film, Before We Crash. Bring you now, help me welcome in Lucas Vani. Lucas, welcome to Thoughts in the Green Room.
Geoff Mays? And we're in the green room.
We are in the green room.
Wow.
And the great thing about the green room that so many people don't know, I bet you everybody does actually, is
I hope
that's
so.
a green screen. It's not actually a forest behind us, dude. Did you notice?
You're surprising me. You're surprising me.
Welcome.
I'm really honored to be here.
It is truly a pleasure to have you.
You and I have been friends for two or 3 years now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't hang out all the time, but I like to still keep in contact with you. Longtime fan. Thank you for having me on the show.
You are welcome. Again, it's truly a pleasure to have you here. And I just introduced you. You will see when you catch the actual video.
Can't wait.
That this is a privilege for me. I've said that 3 times now. The reason it's a privilege for me is as those of you out there who've seen the show so far, you will have noticed that all of the people I've interviewed are artists who are established.
Yes.
Artists who have a certain level of clout, whether they be high level fame or not, is irrelevant. They've got a standing in the business.
Yeah.
They've got artistry behind them.
Mm-hmm.
You, sir, are my very first interview of somebody, quote unquote, fresh to the world of arts. Not that you're just born or anything, but in terms of your career path, where you're going to be taking this, you are about to launch yourself forward, and it's a privilege to talk to somebody who's new in the career or young in the career, because I believe your insights to the world, to the viewers, will be different, obviously, from a certain level of commonality of established individuals. As I imagine, if I had a whole bunch of people who were just fresh out of school, starting, there'd be a similarity with the viewpoint to some degree. Everybody's got their own unique views, but you hear what I'm saying, yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in that respect, you're my first young generation, and it's a privilege to hear that different viewpoint, which I'd like to chat about today.
Well, that is a privilege for me, being the first youngin on your show. So thank you. And again, great to be here. Ask away.
Yeah. So, I guess the first question that I have, right? And this comes from my position, and for many of my other artist friends, when I was at your age, I knew very clearly that I was an actor. And over the years, as I was getting to know friends and whatnot, I met people who were clearly directors and clearly this and whatnot. And we knew where we were going and what we wanted to achieve specifically. And I've held on to that for my entire life. And of course, it's given me obvious branches. But I still, to this day, all those years after my first show, I know that I'm an actor. As an artist, I'm an actor first and foremost.
In your heart, you are
exactly.
An actor.
So, as somebody who's just stepping into the world, claiming yourself and moving into artistry, do you identify as anything specific at this point? And obviously you don't have to, but I'm curious if you do.
Very interesting question, Geoff. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
I believe, because before this I was acting. We were
That's how we met.
We were in a production together. We were in a production
with
together.
Lucas Vani, who was on a number of episodes back.
Different Lucas.
Yep.
But great guy. I started acting, and then it wasn't really working out. Just acting it's tough industry. Very.
Yes.
I don't gotta tell this guy. he knows. But for all you viewers, very tough industry. Rejection is something that it's tough to take. I'm definitely getting better at it, of course. But it was something that I never really liked, going to an audition, trying your hardest, and then being like, it's not working out. Well, why not? You're not the one. Just there's something about you, you're just not the one. And going through that over and over, having to go out and like so many auditions, it's just tough. And I think that is something that, is only natural to get discouraged by, whether you take it super personally. Like to be an actor, you can't. You have to deal with that rejection, which is something that I was definitely dealing with. But I felt I can't do this forever. I need something that is stable. And I think I like to act my certain way. So someone telling me you're not acting the way we want you to, I understand. I completely I get that, and I never really wanted to take it that personal way. So I decided, well, why don't I do something that in a different, like, same industry, because I just love movies and television. Can't go a day without watching something. And I'm a creative individual, so I just thought I'm gonna go to school for making film or holding a camera. I felt, what better way to still pursue the industry than being a director or being a producer or a cameraman or anything, being behind the camera, deciding what looks good and what you should be doing. And if I ever direct something, I can act in it. I'm the director. I get to choose.
You get to choose, absolutely.
But you know, obviously you want to try and give jobs to people like that. Actors, like, that's a really good way to network. You want to find people. You want to keep on giving other people opportunities that you didn't get. You want to try and be as open-minded as possible, because you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know if someone's better for the job than you are. So after kind of not giving up on my acting career, but I would say kind of putting it in the back of my mind and continuing on with a more directing approach of things, that I feel that would be more my title. I would say I really qualify myself as a director, up and coming, of course. Yeah. I don't want to toot my own horn, because I haven't created many things as of right now, but in the future, those things will happen. It's all about finding projects that you feel passionate about and making something that you put like all your effort into and all your love and your creative ability into, even if it's something that's just for you.
Right.
Even if it's something that someone's like, oh, well, like, I don't know why you did that, or like, I'm not a fan of this scene, really kind of bugs me because I don't know why you did that. It's, well, you know, I'm trying to make this for people to enjoy, but if you don't like it, well, then that's okay. You
watch my next project.
Exactly. You don't have to like it. Maybe someone else I'm going to do you'll enjoy later on. But for the time being, at least for now, I don't know if I'm starting off the question.
That's okay if you are. I'll bring it all around somehow.
I'm sure you will. That's your job, man. That right now I'm trying to make things that I enjoy and that I'm really making things for myself, which I never kind of liked the idea of that, because I'm like, well, obviously, like, I gotta start somewhere. I gotta do things for other people. I gotta be the runner of the coffee. I gotta do this. I gotta do that, which is great way to get yourself started in the industry. Just be the coffee boy, or be the person who's holding something on set. Be the boom mic person who just has to hold the mic there all day for however many hours. I will do those jobs. In my free time, I want to try and create things for myself, because it gives you that little bit of joy in all the hustle and bustle of the everyday world, that you're doing things that you might not be totally happy with your job, as some or most people are. It's just, you have to find that little bit of inspiration in your life that makes you want to do something that you're like, well, I'm proud of this. If you don't find that, or like you didn't enjoy it, that's okay. Something down the line you might enjoy better what I do. But for right now, I'm looking for those people who look at something that I've created and be like, you know what? They can even say, I don't even like the whole production. But there was a scene, or there was a part where that really inspired me, or that meant a lot to me. I never thought about something a certain way, or something you made did something to me and made me feel like I'm important, or that if you created something, I can create something too. It's all about inspiring others, because I'm inspired by plenty of directors and plenty of things. It's video games and movies and television that inspired me to want to be a director, even to act in the first place, to write scripts and everything. So I feel like there's inspiration everywhere, and you have to kind of find that inspiration, what it means to you. And at the end of the day, I think you have to give back the inspiration, because if you're not inspiring others, then really what's the point of doing? What are you doing?
Absolutely. So if I'm hearing correctly, that inspiration, in terms of your expression of it, is coming out for you now at the start of your career, quote unquote, as a director, artistically speaking.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you're pigeonholed into that you can take your path any way you want to go, but its current and most prominent manifestation you'd identify as a director.
Yes, director, producer, creator, anything along those lines. Who knows?
The headliner.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
My name is first on the credits.
Yes, absolutely.
But who knows where like tomorrow is gonna take me or the next day. Again, going back to the acting thing, it's like I knew for the longest time all I ever wanted to do in high school. Like we had a drama program. I wasn't in the drama program, but I'm like, oh, like I want to take acting every single year. And my friends were like, why aren't you in the drama program? Like it's like you're so good at it, because I just felt acting was something that I just enjoyed doing. I didn't need to be part of a program. I didn't think I was going to go anywhere with it besides the fact that I enjoyed it until I'm graduating. It's 12th grade.
Right.
Where do I go from there?
So that's an interesting point. You speak about that being in the drama program every year, right? But not specifically being in the program,
Yes.
Not necessarily being in the school shows or in the arts, the drama after class stuff.
Right.
Just you went to the drama classes and did the drama stuff.
It was something for me and somewhere
Exactly.
that I could express myself.
And which leads to that interesting question, and speaks to your idea of director, producer, that headliner behind the cameras, and that openness of the world in front of you. What I'm hearing is following your inspiration. Would that be a fair summation of what you're speaking about right now, that currently you've got an instinct and you're listening to that instinct and moving forward with it?
That is a very good way of summing all of my jibber jabber up.
Hey, that's what we do. But the reason I sum it up is this. As an artist, how important do you feel it is to follow an inspiration? And the reason I ask that question specifically that way is we come back to something you said earlier about that rejection. As an actor, I can speak to it, you spoke to it a little bit, but as an actor, you don't receive a phone call or a letter anymore. You just don't get any word. You audition, and then 6 weeks go by, and well, I guess that project already shot. I didn't get it.
They're going to call me eventually, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, although the rejection isn't tangible, it still is clearly evident and exists. As a director,
there's equal amounts of rejection.
Because you're going to have to petition to do projects. You're going to have to put your work forward and say, I want to take on that project that's out there, that's up for bid, and you're going to bid on it. So you've got that same level. I come back to the question of the value in following your inspiration. How does that allow you to manage rejection, put yourself out there for other people's scripts or projects, and balance that against your own scripts and projects?
You're gonna have to bring up the points again as I'm going forward, because of course, first time on the show. But I will go to your first point, because it was something I was thinking of when you mentioned rejecting and being an actor and how it translates to being a director. Probably didn't pick the best field to go in after being an actor, being like, oh, like if I don't like rejection so much, I should be a director, because there's no rejection in that, right? Knew full well that wasn't the case, but decided to go into it anyway because, and now going off to the second point, it's about following your inspiration, doing what you want to do. I felt if I'm the director and I'm choosing to create a piece that I'm very inspired by, being the director, I have more control over getting something done. If I wrote something and I'm still like the actor of it, where can you really go with that? Sylvester Stallone wrote Rocky, and he took it to so many different people, and they, producers, whoever, enjoyed it, and they wanted to cast someone else. He's like, you can only have the script if I'm the lead in it. And that's a really endearing story about how he became super famous because he wrote something that he was very passionate about, and it was well written, and he did such a great job acting it, and that's great if you could do both. Doesn't always happen like that. That is a very tough shot to make.
That was a huge shot and a great inspirational story.
Yeah, exactly.
Stallone's story on that one is unheard of today, given the changes in the industry. It was also
absolutely.
a youthful industry at that, or a younger industry at that time, that he could make a stand like that. I don't know that you could make a stand like that, but I hope that there's somebody out there who is making a stand like that.
So, so I feel like being the director of something that I could also say, oh, I can act in this too, is again not always plausible, is not always a thing that can happen. But I feel like if I'm directing something, at least I have more control. If I'm writing and directing and acting, that way it's more of a production of that I have more control. The more control, in my opinion, the better, that I'm able to decide whether what I want to get done is good or not, obviously taking other people's opinions into a point, because I like hearing other people's opinions. I know that my ideas aren't gold right off the bat. Like, it has to be.
Really?
You gotta mine that gold, man. you gotta dig a long time until you find that gold.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. You gotta be panning and sifting, and it takes a while. So filling yourself with other people who are just as inspired, and I try as going into this industry, I try as much as I can, doing a couple of productions, like a couple of small little things, and going to school and everything. I like working with people who are just as inspired as I am.
Okay.
Or really think of something, even if it's not my idea, even if I'm working with someone on something else, if I see how dedicated they are to something. My friend Marshall Murphy, who I'm just going to quick shout out to. Hi, Marshall. He is a fantastic director. Made this movie, short film called The Drama, that premiered at our school, Mohawk, along with mine, and both of ours premiered a second time at the Staircase Theater in Hamilton, and we have been really close ever since then, because like I'll go to him with a script idea, he'll come back with me, we'll get drinks, and we'll just talk about stuff. And really, I enjoy talking to him because he is up and coming like I am, but he definitely has more of a backing with writing scripts. He's been doing it for years, where I'm still trying to get into that. I have a lot of good ideas, never really was much of a script writer. So giving my script to him and he comes back with a draft for me, I can be like, oh, he did this differently than I would have. You know what? I'm not perfect, so obviously I'm going to take his opinions into a matter, change things that I want to change, because it's still, if it's something I'm working on, I want it done a certain way.
Collaboration.
It's all about that collaboration, and he is someone who I enjoy collaborating with. It's all about finding those people who are as dedicated as you. I recently sent him a script that I'm going to be working on, up and coming. Look out for that. And it's something that I really had a passion about. It was just something that, as soon as I finished my last film, I was lacking inspiration, because it was something that I'd been holding on for a year, and it took a while to finally make, and I was happy when it was finally done. But when it was done, I had this empty feeling of, I was looking forward to this for so long, and now it is over. Other people can still view it, and that's great that it's still there, but when's the next idea going to come along? And I was really upset by this, and I was telling people, like, now it's over, like, what am I going to do? I had a conversation with my mother, in fact, and I was telling her, I don't think I'm going to, like, I don't know when the next good idea is going to come along, and I was very upset by this. It was around Christmas time. She's like, just be patient, like, it will come around eventually. And I said, I don't know if that's, like, going to happen. Right now, I'm doing nothing. I'm waiting for, like, school to come back, and I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to have nothing to start working on, nothing to keep me busy. That night, I couldn't sleep, and till this day, I still have trouble going to bed late at night, because I'll just wake up and I'll think, I gotta write something. I had this idea and I just gotta start writing, and once I start doing that, the ideas start to flow. And I think after I had that conversation with her, I have started getting more ideas where I'm like, even if it's not perfect or like not fully developed all the way, start writing it, because you never know when that idea is going to become something better. Like, you got to find that, start with an inspiration,
need to
and then
find to grow. You're touching on something which I think is a very generic statement, but one that said out loud may impact some people. That your initial following the inspiration is what's starting to drive your new career forward.
Yes.
Right, a lot of people don't follow their inspiration. They'll talk about something, they'll dream about something, and then they'll get up the next day and they'll go to work or go to school or go to wherever they go to without fulfilling that inspiration, and then all of a sudden the idea is dead. So in order to drive something forward, from what I'm hearing at this point, what's driving it is following the inspiration, which is interesting. You also said that idea of, directing a project, writing a project, starring in a project, and it could be argued a statement like that could be egotistical.
Yeah.
What's your thought on that? If I were to sit back and say, you know what, you're being egotistical. You can't do everything. What do you think on that idea?
I would say you're right. I would say it's not wise to do everything, because then that's and going back when you said, that's when the lack of inspiration, I think, comes. It's like when you're so overburdened with things, you start to feel like, oh, like, I don't think I could do that. I can't do this all by myself. Why am I doing this? And that's when the negative thoughts start to come in. It's like, oh, I can't handle this anymore. What was the point of even doing this? Why did I start in the first place if I can't complete it? And I think that as long as you have something that you're passionate about doing, it shouldn't, like, obviously everything you do is work. You got to work to create something that you want to be good at least. And I think that doing everything is tough, but as long as you're having fun with it, it would feel less like work. It would feel more like you're just creating something that you want to show people, and whether that's something that you're extremely proud of, or like you think like, oh, well, this is something for everybody, this is for all ages, or this is something, well, I made this for me, or I made this for my friends, or like you're doing with the green room, you're making it for
the fun of doing it,
and other people who watch it to get inspired by it too. I know that this show has inspired me. I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. We're very close friends.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And I just enjoy it because it always kind of gives me little bits of inspiration through the day. Or you'll go on for like a big spiel about something. And not to say that's a bad spiel.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's funny.
But there's always a nugget of truth in there somewhere, or there's something that will stick with me personally. And I think that's another thing we can talk about, is that it's not every word that everybody says is gold.
True.
But different things mean something to different people, and I think that you can interpret some way, and I can interpret something some way. It's how we interpret those meanings or morals that kind of define us as an individual.
Carry on. I thought to that.
And yeah, I just think what inspires us is all consider on the individual. You can find something that you're like, oh, like I love this movie, like I love this part of the movie, and I can watch it and be like, you know what, I don't agree with you because either I haven't experienced something like that, or that doesn't mean something as much to me.
Yep, but something else will.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I like the way you said that not everything that everybody says is gold, but I believe that there is gold in everything that everybody says. And I think you and I have the same opinion on that, which is a truth. Depending on the individual receiving the information, depends on what gold is found.
Because you could listen to anybody talk and be like, oh, well, like, oh, I don't agree with anything that they say. Like, that's all, like, just, that's crap. I don't agree with anything like that. But if you listen carefully, it's whether you're willing to shut your brain off and not listen to them, or you're like, well, like, I agree with some points they make. I don't agree with everything, but sure, you know what? I can see your point of view. It's not mine, but I can see it.
And I think that statement is a statement that captures the mind in general, very broad stroke with this, that the open mind to capture some level of gold within something is what makes the mark of a good artist. The ability to listen to a speech by a famous personality or an unknown, somebody that we may view as ignorant or closed-minded or whatever, but to sit there and be able to listen to an individual or a group of people speak that hold clearly different opinions and views than you would or I would as an individual would, but be able to sit there through that and keep an open enough mind to recognize that, although I don't agree with all of this, this right here, that's an interesting thing I've never thought about, and there's value to contemplate that. Maybe that's the next script. Maybe that's the next inspiration for a character, or the way that an edit should look for an edit, or fill in the blank, right? The painting that's going to come out of that, whatever.
This equals X.
Yeah. And in terms of artistry, this is the moment of inspiration for us, right? The idea of control on a project, how important to you is that? You spoke about speaking about collaboration, you spoke about hearing other people's ideas, you've also spoke about the value and recognition of being an actor versus that translation to behind the camera, which is where you currently sit. How important is it for you to have control of your projects at this point? You've got one major one under your belt with Before We Crash. You've got another one on the books that you've spoke with me about loosely. And how important, if that were to get launched tomorrow morning, let's say it was at that stage and you're about to launch it tomorrow morning, how important is control of the creative aspect of it for you?
Good question. I would like to say 100%, but I don't think that's the case. Like, I think we could only have so much control over a project. Like, obviously you want to have as much as you can get, but I think at some points you have to relinquish control. You have to let either it's letting the actor do the scene. My brother mentioned something to me just the other day where we were talking about movies and like directing and all this stuff, because he was trying to be an actor for a while, and because he's kind of what inspired me to want to be an actor. And we were talking about Martin Scorsese and what, like, how brilliant he is and how I enjoy Martin Scorsese films, but he wouldn't be the director that I say that I want to emulate. But he says a good thing about him is that he will tell the actor, do this 10 times my way. And the actors will do it. It's like, hey, you know what? You did it so good all those times, you get one freebie. Improv the way you want. I feel like a director can have so much control of a project. I would love to have 100% control, but I know that you have to let people, especially the other people that you're having on your crew, whether it be actors, whether it be I could do everything. Right. It's not going to turn out great. If I act, I direct, I do the camera, I can't be in more than one place. It would be ideal, but I couldn't. You need to have other people involved, because that, again, going back to inspiration, gives you more inspiration. You work with people who like you want to be with, because either they keep you happy on set, or they have good ideas, or they even think of something that you hadn't thought of. You're like, man, that is a good idea. I will, let's try to take like that, or letting the actor improv a scene, because you never know something that they're gonna do that you think is, wow, that's better than I could have done.
I think what you said, and this is what I'm taking away from that, it's a beautiful capture of the power of the artistic machine, which is, you're right, we could do everything. You've got a skill set, you know how to light, you know how to direct, you can write it, so on and so on, but you can't be everywhere at once. You could. There's enough technology out there that you could successfully do that in today's world, right? You
could, and you're learning more and more, at least I've been learning more and more, that it's better to do things on your own, especially if you're going on a contract or something. More money for you.
Exactly. But I think that the power associated to the artistic machine is that, and this comes back to you speaking to it, we've spoke to it before in this program, that the power of collaboration is what drives inspiration, and inspiration is what drives the art into bigger, larger, the next and project. So eventually somebody looks back one day and goes, well, that piece over there, that was a masterpiece. You weren't trying to make a masterpiece, but without the collaboration and the other insights that, you know, maybe we've got to take this shot from here instead of from here, you know, is that moment that makes it the masterpiece. Without the collaboration, you wouldn't have that inspiration to shift the camera 6 feet or come at it from over the shoulder, whatever it is. So I think it's interesting that you recognize and that we're now sharing with everybody out there that, yeah, we can have our own creative control and it would be great, but there's greater potential in having collaboration. Now that doesn't, in my opinion, mean that when you take in all of that collaboration, all that additional inspiration, that as a director, because that is the position of authority within this industry, as far as the on-set time goes, that you don't sit back and objectively look at the other ideas, and you should have the power of veto to say, great idea, not appropriate for this, right? A good director is one who can say, great idea and necessary to be put into this.
Control is great. You want to have control, especially being a director. You want to decide what works and what doesn't. But again, you aren't the be all and end all.
No, we're not.
You don't know everything. That's bad. I don't know everything.
Well, and we never will.
No, we never will. That's why the best things that are created, at least in my opinion, are things that just happen to work. Whether it be a scene that was improv, whether it was like, well, let's try one take this way, and let's do it like this, because you never know what can happen. Those end up being in the film because it feels natural. It feels like watching birds fly in a V. It's just something that is nature. It's something that, whether it be, because I find every individual is different. Even if you have similar ideas, we could have very similar ideas on everything. Guaranteed there's something we don't agree on.
Yep.
Will that drive us farther apart?
Hopefully not.
I hope not.
I hope not in any context for anybody.
Exactly.
Right? That
But
the difference drives forward.
But you have to be able to see someone's opinion in something. This goes for, I often don't like to talk religion, politics with people, because everyone has very, not stuck up opinions, but everyone has very bad, what's the word?
I don't know the word, but I think I hear what you're saying, and I'd like to see if I can capture
Sure.
it. The idea that everybody has their own opinions. Religion, politics are hard topics.
Mm-hmm.
Difficult to talk to people about,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're on differing sides of the coin.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to be able to hear somebody's viewpoint and go, that's the piece where you're right,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see a different aspect, so I can open my mind
Mm-hmm.
further. That open mind
Yeah.
in arts equals the inspiration and creativity that drives us.
Or I have a different opinion from you, but I'm not going to say your opinion is invalid.
Yes.
I'm going to say, sure, that is your opinion. This is mine. We don't have to agree, but I'm not going to shut you down and be like, you're wrong.
Right.
I'm right, you're wrong. It goes back to, I don't know everything. I like listening to other people's opinion because it's learning more about other people that can influence your work and can influence other things. And
Absolutely.
And it's about being that individual that's being a good listener rather than a big talker.
Right.
And that you're able to listen, you're able to hear people out, because at the end of the day, everyone really just wants someone to listen, or wants someone to talk to, wants someone who will listen to them and will say, hey, you know what? Sure, if that works for you, you're right.
Yep, agreed. Very much agreed. And I think something else that you've said in there, and again, capturing an essence and an impression that I'm catching from things you're saying, is that the open mind is what allows for greatness to occur.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to agree to disagree on something is what allows people to remain individual without becoming an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
there are wrong answers out there, for sure. There are wrong answers out
Yeah.
there, but take things with a grain of salt. Be like, well, I disagree, but please continue with your point, because maybe you could influence my opinion. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to bring this to a close. I got one other question for
Oh,
you.
shucks.
Yeah, shucks. We can do another one another time.
I'm always down.
Not in a nutshell. Quick answer. Favorite director?
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lucas Vani. Thank you so much for joining me today
Absolutely.
on
Thank
Thoughts
you,
in the
Geoff.
Green Room. They're quick, they're short, they're sweet, they're enjoyable, in my opinion. I hope you have the same opinion. And out there, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on Thoughts in the Green Room again in 1 or 2 weeks. Have a good one.
Take care.